Hello everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Welcome to a brand new day. How are you feeling today? What's your sense of the world? Are you aging in a positive way? This has been one of my mantras forever. And I mean, one of our basic tenets at 60andMe is that we're aging beautifully, just pushing back on aging stereotypes. And rather than anti-aging or even pro-aging, why even use that word aging as we describe how we're living our lives today? I think if there's one word that I would use, it's, positively. That's the adverb I would choose. I think that if we get up every morning and we just appreciate the fact that we're breathing, that we're alive on this planet, and I know people have got so many challenges across a broad spectrum all around the world, and we have to just find that moment where we can just grasp onto something positive and hopeful. And I think that's what I wanted to chat about today. Now, I've done a whole series of videos on this over the past years, and so all about sort of aging positively and how do you do that? How do you know when you're aging positively? Well, I guess you're aging positively at a baseline when you maintain a sense of wisdom and wonder and appreciation for the world around you, that we see, we see the potential for things rather than the negative. And that's, we know that we're aging positively if we take that stance. When we focus on the things that you can control and not the things that are out of our control, that is aging positively, where you take an attitude of, and it's back to the Mel Robbins let them theory of, you really got to let people do what they want to do and do what you want to do. Do it with a heartfelt truth. That you don't, you cannot control other people's emotions, feelings, actions, but you can control yours. And it's in that, switching from a mode of worrying about everybody else and just putting the attention on yourself, I think that's positive. When you seek out opportunities to learn and grow and, expand your knowledge about the world and about things around you, pick up a book on a subject that you've never read before, that's something that you just think, oh, I really wish I knew more about that. I've learned so much from my grandkids, for example. Like they were over yesterday and we were doing coding. And actually coding, I've always thought it was such a difficult thing, in the great scheme of things it is, in the sense of putting together a program, but the actual process and thinking elements around coding are very, very interesting. And they were teaching me how to do some basic coding. And I think it was really fun to learn something new for the first time. I think another thing is to appreciate the journey, to know that you're moving positively forward, and you may make steps to the side and backwards and like 2 forward, 3 back, whatever it turns out each month or year, how you measure that progress forward. But instead of looking at the end of the goal, like the destination of where you're going, looking at the journey, it's fun. Get up every morning and do something small. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be simply having a cup of tea with a biscuit, or, looking out the window and watching birds flying, or a butterfly that's, on a leaf, or just a very simple thing. And just look forward every day to those kinds of things that are, going to make you notice the beauty, the simplicity, that kind of, lovely, just beauty of the world. Another thing is to, try new things in general, like go to a new cafe, go to a new, if you're in a car, drive to the next town, go somewhere that you've never been before. That means you're aging in a positive way, that you're looking to build all the experience you've had of observing things and interpreting things, but you're putting them into new context all the time. That you're not thinking negatively about, oh, I've never done that before, it makes me nervous, or I'm too old to do that, or, it's too late to start that. It's just, aging positively means looking at the positive side of things, even if there might be a little negative that creeps in there sometimes. I'm looking at my notes here because I want to make sure I've got like a whole hundreds of them here, things I've thought about as aging positively. But that's one thing, is do something different. Another thing is to feel, let your emotions be there, feel stuff, because being a hopeful and a positive person is like, looking at a picture, looking at a situation, and looking at and seeing it from the hopeful side, the side that's going to lead somewhere that maybe you don't know before, but shows that you have empathy for the process and also for people. And that's another reason that a lot of people who are maybe in a younger framework see the world a little bit differently, because they haven't had their life perspective. One second. is tickling my throat. I think it's partly the air conditioner. I've got like a little portable air conditioner. It's been so hot here. I've actually got my, I should probably get this out. My fan is just so warm. But anyway, I think that's important, that another positive outcome or approach to life is just to have, an empathy for other people, get what they're going through. I know that there's a lot of conversation right now about people who don't fit the profile of what you think is normal or is acceptable. And I'm just saying, let it go. Just let those boundaries soften a little bit so that you can be more accepting of people who've chosen a different way to live their lives. And I'll be talking about more of that later in a different video, but I think it's super important that we show our maturity and show our wisdom. In my life, I've met people from every walk of life, every economic level. I've met millionaires. I've met people that are literally on the street. I mean talked to, chatted with and got to know. And, some have been good experiences. Some have not been so good. Some have been where trust has been betrayed. But I still have a positive attitude for people of all kinds. I just realized I've got my Can You Control mug here, and it's got tea in it. So let me take a sip. If you can find this mug, it's very cool. I cannot control all these things, and I can control some of the others. It's really thoughtful. What else have we got here? I think trying to control other people's behavior is another thing about aging in a positive way, is that you don't see it as your mission to turn all the negative into good. Like you don't see like you're trying to convert everybody to your point of view, but you genuinely want others to succeed in their path, in their journey. And I think that's really super important. Another thing about emotions is, another thing about aging positively is you see the positive in all emotions, the good and the bad and the in-between. And I think that's a really powerful way of looking at your feelings, because if you're aging in a negative way, you only highlight the negative. Like if something is like, that's not going to end up well, you might say to yourself. And if you have that negative perspective, it always will end that way. It always will go the way you kind of direct it to go. If you're trying to keep your emotions positive and moving in a constructive way ahead, then you will see things in a more positive way. And I think for me, that's my goal with aging, is not to see the wrinkles, not to see all these things that are going on. It could be negative. It could, no, my hair is falling apart. I have no eyebrows anymore. All these things. It's just to see the positive. I breathe. I see. I live. I learn. I love. I care for. I play with my grandkids. I explore new places. All those things are taking these, what could be considered negatives. Like these people that focus on trillions of levels of skincare because they don't want a wrinkle. Well, sorry, you're going to get them whether you like it or not. Whether you use every collagen, every, peptide, every whatever under the sun, I shouldn't go there. But anyway, if you actually are leaning on those things to negate aging, then you're not going to be very successful, trust me. I think that building strong relationships is one other one that's really important, that we see the value in eliminating toxic relationships. That could be considered negative. You're letting someone go. You're saying no to someone. No is a pretty negative word. It's also a complete sentence, as I've said millions of times. If you want to use that to say, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't want to be with that person anymore, then that's a positive thing. It's like a double negative positive, or whatever you would call it. But being solid in your choices of people and how you live your life and which directions you go, where you live, what you eat, what you say, the words you say. Those are your positive contributions to the world. It may come out with a no in it, but it's not negative, it's positive. Does that make any sense? I hope that this has been kind of an interesting way of looking at this idea of aging in a positive way. Would you say that you're aging positively? I really am curious, because I think a lot of people do get focused on the negative, especially when the times around them might be a little challenging from other angles. But how are you doing? Let's talk. I mean, the comment section here is an open space, so just obviously don't leave too much personal information, but you can share the kind of the top line stuff, and we all reach out. If someone looks like they're struggling, give them a cuddle. I mean, give them a hug and say, "Hey, I get what you're saying. It must be tough," or I hope that you can find a more positive way out of that. I think it would be really, really helpful. Okay, please. And if you want to join more detailed conversations at 60andMe, consider joining our Patreon supporters group. It's a supporters group for 60andMe. We don't charge anything for our content, but if you want to join up now on Patreon, it's a little bit more every month, for $10 a month. It's a contribution to help us keep our business going and to grow, but also you get free access to free ad-free experience on the website. A lot of people didn't like the ads popping up because that was a way that we made some money to support the business. But if you join our Patreon supporters group at that level, you can have an ad free. And that gives you access to our chat rooms. We've got 10 different rooms on different topics. You can come and chat about, travel or pets or beauty or wellness or travel, travel, hobbies, arts and crafts, all those kinds of things. Come join us over there. And it's all part of that monthly contribution. So we have a lot of people there now. It's a really fun place to be. So take good care of yourselves. Know that you're loved by me and our 60andMe group, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. New videos. Any ideas? Also, by the way, leave them below. I'm always open to what you need, what I can do to help. Okay, take care, everyone. Lots of love.